waiting list for a while if you wanted to get a Prius. And I remember back in the early 2000s, I said, when I first saw some of the electric cars, mass-produced electric cars, I think Honda had one, Insight, right? A Honda Insight. Every once in a while, I see one of those running around. And I remember saying, I would love to have an electric car, because then I wouldn't have to go in a gas station anymore. I would love, they're so cool. But then when you looked in and you realize, they can only go about 50 miles on a charge. Well, hell, man, hell's bells. It's like, it's 45 miles into Boston at the time where I was living. And if you're stuck in traffic, forget it. You're not going to make it to Boston. And even if you do, you're definitely not going to make it home. So you better have a charging station at the parking lot that you park your car in. Because if you don't, you're not getting home. So they had no range. And then somebody decided, well, you know what? Seeing how these battery-powered cars don't have any range, nor do they have any real power, how about we add a little small engine to it? Well, somebody thought that was a good idea. Good idea in theory. But practicality, when they first came out with them, didn't live up to expectation. And even today, I do not think that these hybrids and these electric vehicles are living up to expectation. I know Nissan put a lot of money into their Nissan Leaf. I have never seen a Leaf on the open road. The only place I've seen a Nissan Leaf is at the car dealership lot. I have never seen anybody drive a Leaf. I mean, you want to talk about high-tech Star Trek type of gadgetry in the cockpit when you're sitting in it behind the driver's wheel. Sure, it looks kind of cool inside. The Leaf on the outside, it looks, looks about as safe as a smart car. And it's about it's a little bit bigger. It's not that much bigger than a smart car. But again, I wouldn't be driving it down the highway. That's a kind of a car that, if you don't want a motorcycle, that's what you get for driving around town in, running errands. You go to the grocery store, you go home. Go to the drugstore and the video store, and the red box, and you go home. You don't take it anywhere. It's strictly an around town errand running car. But you couldn't do a lot of errands because there's no storage in those things because they're so damn small. And this is what people are figuring out. They have needs that are much bigger than these vehicles. And the vehicles are not producing or performing the way they wanted them or believed that they would perform. So according to Edmunds.com, about 22% of the people who have traded in their hybrids and EVs in 2015 bought new SUVs. 22%. Almost a quarter. The number represents a sharp increase from 18.8% in 2014 and is nearly double the rate of 11.9% just 3 years ago. Overall, only 45% of this year's hybrid EV trade-ins have gone toward the purchase of another alternative fuel vehicle, down from over 60% in 2012. Never before have loyalty rates for alternative fuel vehicles fallen below 50%. Now they have. And some people are saying, well, it's because the price of gas is so cheap now. No, it's not. I'm sorry, but gas is a lot cheaper than what we've been used to paying. That's simply because we've been used to paying almost double over the past few years under Obama. So when gas gets down around $2.25, it seems like a bargain at first. And people are still realizing, well, I'm still spending $25, $30 every week on a fill-up. Well, at least it's not 50. But that's not why people are turning them in. It's not because gas is cheaper, because we are quite aware that this is probably temporary. This respite in gas price is temporary. Trust me, oil countries like Saudi Arabia and the cartels like OPEC are not going to stand by and lose all that extra profit for very long, especially now that you've got Saudi Arabia actually using their military for a change. Actually using military and actually dropping and using and exploding real bombs cost a lot of money. So they're gonna see their bank accounts dwindle, and they're gonna say, "Oh hell no, somebody got to pay for this, Jack." And they're gonna jack up the price of oil. Just watch. It's not going to be down for long. That's the other thing people have to realize. Even though we're not doing anything in the Middle East, and you know what? I'm not hearing all the lefties out there complaining, because they used to say, well, hey, let them, don't put our military in danger. Let them take care of their own mess. And now Saudi Arabia and Egypt and other nations in the Middle East are trying to take care of their own mess. And we hear people here, even on the left, well, should we really let them do that? I mean, we shouldn't commit to, ground troops or anything, but, this could escalate out of control. Well, look, either you want us involved or you don't. None of this. Well, it's only expedient. It's political expediency to be against whatever's happening at the moment. So I'm sure they're going to, politicians are probably going to come back and say that you American people, you guys are just selfish and evil and cruel for dumping your hybrids and electric vehicles. You want to kill the environment. When, by the way, if you remember the story I brought to you last week, China is now the world's biggest polluter, not the USA. So are we really killing the environment, or is it now China? I don't see many environmentalist leftist wackos, chaining themselves to trees in China. And I wonder why. Is it because China would probably still cut the tree down with the protester chained to it? Yeah, they would. So, because they're not putting up with that kind of stuff. But we in this country, we get to exercise our freedom of speech. And we can protest. To a degree, we can protest. And that's one way that we can protest, by chaining ourselves to a tree while we're hugging it so people can't cut it down. Because we have to, if you're a lefty, you have to honor the lefties' right to free speech. But God forbid if you're a righty and you want to, express your own free speech opinions. Oh, no. That's not possible. I'm sure that I am understanding that on my Facebook fan page, and I already know this on Twitter, that there are leftists who are liking the page so they can then, make comments and stuff. And I understand that there is a couple of wonderful lefties who are making all kinds of interesting comments on the page. I don't mind. Let them show off to be, the total idiots that they are. I know I get hit quite often on Twitter from lefties, and that's fine, because I fire right back. I'm not afraid to fire back, because they're stupid idiots in my book. I call them out. And usually after I call them out, they go silent, because they can't scream and shout me down on Twitter or Facebook. Yeah, but they try to in person or over the air, which doesn't work either. Because I have a big voice, and I know how to use it. And there ain't no way in hell anybody's going to shout over me. It just ain't going to work. So y'all better, y'all liberals better come up with a different tactic, because shouting, it may work. If I were giving a speech and they were protesting against me, oh no, I'd be like a Chris Christie, man. I'd be jumping all down them, and I'd be shouting over. I would shout my speech, because there ain't no way that these people are going to be shutting me up. No way. Come hell or high water, they're not shutting me up. And I'm going to tell them point blank, people don't like your stupid smart cars. They don't like your hybrids, and they don't like your electric vehicles, except for the Tesla. Amazing. Tesla comes out with an electric vehicle that has a decent range, has great power. I mean, they have one of the world's fastest cars, super sports cars, and it's all electric. But, people are talking about, well, they were trying to make it very difficult for Tesla to sell their cars because they wanted them to go through this dealership network. And Tesla's like, that's only going to raise the price of the car, and it's already expensive enough. We want the public to be able to afford this. And of course, the dealers of America are saying, no, there's a law that prevents you from doing it. So Tesla basically says, well, if your state doesn't allow me to sell this car directly, then we're not going to sell it in your state. And they took New Jersey to court, and I do believe they won. And Tesla doesn't even really have dealerships like a dealer does. They have a showroom. Now, I've never been in one, but this is what I understand. They have a showroom. And I guess they have the models, one model of each of the whatever that they have, models that they have for sale. And you get to look at them and sit in them, all that kind of stuff. But I don't think you get to test drive them. But if you want to get one, there is a computer kiosk. And you enter your order for the model and the options and everything that you want on your Tesla. And then in a few months, just like ordering going into a dealership and custom ordering a vehicle from the factory, from the dealer, it takes a few months, and then it gets delivered to you. You don't have to go pick it up. It gets delivered to you. Now, I find that's a very new and innovative way to do it. Now, yes, granted, I know that people want to test drive these things, but I think it'd be kind of difficult to test drive an electric car because they'd have to come back and recharge all that kind of stuff for the next one. It's not like a gas car. But I think they won their lawsuit in New Jersey, so they're able to open up their little mini showrooms like that in New Jersey. Good for them. No, why should we be beholden to? And I'm surprised, and the liberals were not on Tesla's side, which was really kind of interesting. Well, probably because they actually had a vehicle that actually worked that people probably would want, and they're not about that. Liberals, they want you to be miserable because they just want to basically get rid of cars. Don't doubt me on that. They really do. They just want to get rid of cars. And, continuing from yesterday on the Environmental Earth Day, and this happens every freaking year. And I don't know why they just don't put a stop to it. Well, I mean, you have the right to assembly and all that kind of stuff, but they should be charged. Look, the King Pumpkin Festival is not happening in 2015 in Keene because the city fathers decided that they didn't want to have more riots. Well, the riots didn't happen where the Pumpkin Festival is actually happening. It happened on a liberal college campus called Keene State College. That's where the riot happened, which were a few blocks away from the Pumpkin Festival. There was no intermingling with the Pumpkin Festival, other than a bunch of college students who probably went down to the Pumpkin Festival and then went back to college campus and went to parties and had too much to drink and started to hoot and holler and throwing things and started to turn things. No respect whatsoever. So the King Pumpkin Festival is not going on because of some liberals on a liberal college campus that had nothing to do with the Pumpkin Festival. But here, every single year in D.C., and here's a story. It's from Daily Caller, and it's the D.C. District of Columbia beat. National Mall trashed after Lefty Earth Day celebration. The Global Citizen Earth Day, which was held on the Washington Monument grounds, was billed as an event to inspire citizens to take action to protect our planet and its people. But instead, they left behind a big mess for the city to clean up. And I'm going to post some of these pictures on the website, which is rodeccles.net, by the way, later on. And you're going to see some of and I'll put a link to the story, but you're going to see the mess that they left behind. Now, I thought these people were all about, saving the planet. I thought these people were all about, reduce, reuse, and recycle. There's trash strewn all over the place. And I thought these people were supposed to also be granolas. Well, if they're granola types, why are they drinking Coke and Pepsi out of cans and bottles? Plastic bottles. Why are there plastic bags strewn all over the place? Why is there so much trash? Because it feels good to be a part of this event. Yeah, I'm sure it does. But in reality, what are they really doing? They're not really doing anything to help the environment. In fact, they're doing everything that they preach to us that we should not do. They're doing everything that they try to create laws for us not to be able to do. You can't use this kind of plastic, and you shouldn't use this kind of plastic for food. And they keep going on and on.